So this is definitely one of my more silly sounding ideas, and I got it from my last video on mobility devices. Actually the second to last video. And what it is that they have now invented fibers, and many types of fibers that swing if you put electricity through them. They've also invented fibers due to the piezoelectric effect that vibrate. The piezoelectric effect, and I will quickly see if I can find it in here, but it's an effect that if you put electricity on certain minerals, materials, chemicals, that they either start squeezing or deforming. Boy, is my internet bad. And so that they don't have electricity conducting the same way throughout the material. So it's trying to show you, but here's an example is that if you have something that has minus, plus, minus, minus, but that's stressed out, when you put electric charge, you can turn the negative and positive, but if the positive at one end, if it's positive, when it's positive top and minus on the bottom is standing up tall, and then when you put some electricity, it flips over. But flip over, it might go from standing up tall to being flat on the ground, not as much. And then it can flip over again when it gets to full way, and flip over, and that can cause the whole crystal structure to kind of vibrate. Or other like asymmetries where the plus and minuses on material. And it can also just compress the material besides vibration. What if we could put that in fabrics along it, and we've all invented fabrics, then we put conductive fabrics, and there's many types of conductive fabrics actually out there already. Some examples of conductive fabrics include anilines, polyaniline, which are fabrics that have a lot of nitrogens incorporated into the normal carbon. It's a kind of plastic. Most plastics are mostly carbon, hydrogen, and a little bit of oxygen, but it's nitrogen added, and it's a couple other things. Gives them a little more electrons, and that electrons can conduct it through certain bonds that we have called the bonds that are aromatic, and aromatic bonds. I'm giving a lot of background. You don't have to listen to all this background. Kind of look like this. There's a bunch of different types of aromatic bonds, but the thing is, if you see that they alternate between 2 and 1, and 2 and 1 in like a hexagon or circle, and they can actually rotate. I can put that 2 bond there and that 1 bond there. They actually all exist at once in this really confusing mess, but that lets electrons move more freely through the material, and so it makes graphite superconductive. And we can do that in plastic, and we add donors to the electrons like nitrogen to make it more conductive, so actually here some nitrogen ones. No, these are aromatic, but kind of a cool idea. And then other ways they have done it is they add a little bit of, most expensive is axial metal fibers made of silver, which are antimicrobial, but that's too expensive for the actual normal person. But you can add little metals, particles to fibers to make them more conductive. You can also add graphite or carbon nanotubes. Carbon nanotubes are super expensive, carbon nanofibers, but there's hope with some new technology that it'll get a lot cheaper. But graphite is cheap. It's what's found in pencil. Or you can do a combination. Even the best conductive polyanilines or plastics are not by themselves as conductive as metals but if you add some fillings of metals or graphite, it becomes more conductive. Then you could attach all this to like a computer chip and sensors, and these same fibers that can stretch or vibrate, especially the piezoelectric, can also sense quite easily how the fabric is stretched out or something like that, and feedback. There's also fibers that change the conductivity based on temperature, and they do this through a variety of means. Some of them do it based on dissimilar materials that make a slight charge or become slightly more conductive, because just the interfaces match up more, or that electrons get a little looser, or that the fibers start unraveling a little bit, or that something slightly starts changing phase or melting inside the fabric. always methods. There's also stuff they can sense sweat, and sweat is or liquid or water on it by absorbing it and become more conductive. Just like salt by itself is not conductive, but salt water is. You can sense ions with, but making it only able to absorb certain types of salt, so you can even sense what's in the salts and all these stuff. But that's more fancy. But the basic idea I have to get back on track is, before I add all these before someone adds all these sensors, is that it could massage or squeeze and let go certain parts of your body. And this could help with blood circulation, and it also massaging and squeezing is one of the most effective forms against cramps. So it could help people with cramps, it could help people with blood circulation issues, it could also help people with anxiety issues, or just to feel calmer in general. You could put it with sensors so it could detect when the maybe start being anxious by how they're twitching, or if they're sweating a lot, or when they need it based on other blood flow patterns. So you could also have this feedback there. You could also design it so the clothes could give you hapto feedback, which is a type of feedback by like touch and sensitivity. So you could shake certain part of your body when you get an vacation or something like that, or squeeze it, so you don't have to wake up the whole room. It can be even better than vibrating, because vibrating doesn't always work if it's on the table, and sometimes it still makes a lot of noise, surprisingly. So this is just an idea I have for some weird clothes that might really help out people. Well, thank you very much. I hope you found this interesting. Please like it and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers in a year, which is really, really hard, and 4,000 watch hours, but with your help, I think I can do it. And please share, leave a comment below if you have any ideas for future videos, topics, or questions, or just compliments, or DM me. Thank you very much. Goodbye.